Patrick Renvoisé, Christophe Morin. Selling to the Old Brain. How neuroscience holds the key to influencing your audience. Have you ever walked out of a great presentation and still said no to the offer? You liked the product, the presenter was convincing, but something didn't click. That's because decision-making isn't rational. It's instinctive. And, critically, most sales pitches miss the part of the brain that actually decides. In a crowded market, what grabs attention isn't another list of features. It's a gut-level connection that sparks emotion and addresses pain points. A message that makes someone feel something. A pitch that speaks to pain, shows contrast, and makes the benefits so real they can almost taste it. That part of the message, fast, emotional, and deeply human, lands with the old brain, the ancient decision center that calls the shots long before logic catches up. In this blink, you'll discover a simple but powerful shift in how to present ideas. Instead of listing facts or showcasing clever slides, you'll learn to hook attention, keep it, and turn interest into action by using 6 timeless triggers that activate the brain's internal buy button. Whether you're selling a product, a pitch, or just an idea, knowing how to talk to the part of the brain that actually makes decisions gives you a serious edge. If you want to persuade, speak to the part of the brain that actually calls the shots. Great products don't sell themselves. You might have cutting-edge tech or a revolutionary service, but if your message doesn't land with the part of the brain that actually makes decisions, you'll be left wondering why your pitch fell flat. Neuromarketing shows that decisions aren't made by logic alone. They're driven by instinct, emotion, and survival impulses. And the part of the brain responsible for that? It's the old brain. The old brain, also called the reptilian brain, is the oldest part of our neural hardware. It's been around for about 450 million years and still controls our survival instincts. It evolved long before language, logic, or even complex emotions. This brain doesn't analyze spreadsheets or care about technical specs. What it does do is decide. It pulls the trigger on every major action, and it's hardwired to respond to things like fear, contrast, simplicity, and emotion. That's why trying to sell with facts alone often fails. You're talking to the new brain, the one that processes logic, but ignoring the old brain, where the real action happens. The human brain has 3 major parts: the new brain, which thinks, the middle brain, which feels, and the old brain, which decides. Most sales presentations target the first 2, facts and emotions, but forget the third. That's a mistake. Even with emotional storytelling, unless you engage the old brain, your message risks being ignored or forgotten. So how do you talk to a brain that doesn't understand language? You use signals it's evolved to notice. The old brain is tuned to spot threats or rewards, so frame your offer in terms of before and after, problem versus solution, danger versus safety. Then, keep it simple. The old brain doesn't like complexity. It's looking for clarity and relevance. Use visuals over words because images are processed faster and more directly. And anchor your message in emotion, because emotion is the bridge between the feeling brain and the deciding brain. This also explains why trust is such a powerful selling tool. The old brain scans constantly for risk. When you come across as confident, clear, and in control, it feels safer to say yes. But if you overload your audience with jargon or bullet points, you trigger mental shutdown. That's not just bad messaging, it's bad neurology. To really connect and convert, in short, you need to shift your strategy. So how do you go about that? Let's find out. Speak to the selfish brain, show contrast, and keep it simple. The part of the brain that drives buying decisions doesn't care about your company's mission statement or your founder's journey. It doesn't care how many awards you've won or how innovative your technology is. What it does care about is survival, its own survival. That's the old brain at work, and if you want to influence it, you have to speak its language. The old brain is selfish. It scans every message for signs of personal relevance. It asks one question: what's in it for me? This means every pitch, every slide, every sentence needs to focus on your audience's needs, not your business. Instead of saying, "We are a global leader in," say, "You get results faster with." Instead of listing company values, show how your product makes their life easier, richer, or less risky. This isn't about being manipulative, it's about being relevant. Next, the old brain is obsessed with contrast. It doesn't do nuance well. It wants clear choices and visible differences. So show it before and after. Paint a picture of life with your solution and life without it. Don't say, "We help businesses grow." Say, "We helped one client double their revenue in 60 days. That's the kind of contrast the old brain can latch onto. It likes extremes. Pain versus relief. Chaos versus order. Delay versus speed. Think in pairs. If your product saves time, compare how long things take now versus how fast they could be. If it reduces risk, lay out the danger of doing nothing versus the safety of action. Finally, the old brain loves the tangible. Abstract phrases like customized solutions or dynamic ecosystems go straight over its head. The old brain doesn't do jargon. It's stuck in caveman mode. It understands things it can picture. So instead of saying cloud-based scalability, try access your files from anywhere, anytime. Don't say optimize efficiency. Say cut your admin time in half. The more sensory and specific, the better. Use images, simple numbers, and physical language. Make it real. Here's the big shift. To sell better, stop selling to the thinking brain. Start selling to the deciding brain. Talk about them, not you. Give them clear choices. When you do, you won't just inform, they'll feel the urgency to act. That's the power of tuning into the stimuli that the old brain is wired to respond to. Want to be remembered? Focus on emotion, images, and timing. When someone listens to your pitch, they'll only remember parts of it, usually the beginning, the end, and anything that stirred up emotion or created a strong mental image. That's not a flaw in your message. It's how the old brain is wired. As we've seen, this part of the brain isn't logical or patient. It's fast, emotional, and ruthlessly selective. To connect with it, you need to design your message around 3 more key triggers: timing, visuals, and feelings. Start strong and finish stronger. The old brain doesn't have the energy or the interest to hold on to everything it hears. It remembers what comes first and what comes last. That's why rambling intros and slow build-ups are fatal. Put your most important idea right at the top. Say it clearly and simply, then repeat it at the end. The middle can fill in the details, but don't expect them to stick. Whenever possible, go first in a pitch lineup. The brain uses the first thing it hears as a comparison point for everything else. If you land that first impression, you're ahead before anyone else opens their mouth. Second, think visually. The old brain is wired for images, not words. It evolved long before we had language, so it reacts first to what it sees. That's why a picture of a cracked phone screen or a sleek product in action works better than a bulleted list of features. Visuals get processed faster and more instinctively, and when people react quickly, they make decisions more quickly. Use photos, diagrams, props, anything they can see and instantly get. Even a simple gesture or sketch can do the trick. Finally, make them feel something. Emotion is the glue that makes ideas stick. The old brain doesn't respond to neutral information. It needs to feel something, whether it's curiosity, fear, relief, or excitement. The more emotionally charged your message, the more likely it is to be remembered and acted on. This doesn't mean turning every pitch into a drama, but it does mean using stories, metaphors, and real-life stakes to create an emotional hook. If your audience forgets what you said, you've already lost. But if you trigger emotion, use clear visuals, and get your timing right, you'll stay in their minds long after the meeting ends. That's how you get past the filters and speak directly to the part of the brain that says yes. To sell more effectively, Target pain, show proof, and speak to the real decision maker. When people decide to buy, their decision is driven by a deeper part of the brain that cares less about features and more about instincts. That's why even brilliant sales pitches can fall flat if they fail to hit the right psychological buttons. To truly connect and convert, you need a four-step formula that taps into how people are wired to decide. Think of it as pain, claims, gain, and brain. Start by diagnosing the pain. Every buyer has a problem they want to fix, even if they can't quite describe it yet. Your job is to ask smart questions and listen for what's really bothering them. Forget product specs for a minute. If you're selling drills, they don't want a drill. They want a clean hole in the wall. Or better yet, they want the shelf on that wall, or the clutter finally cleared off the floor. Zero in on what they actually need solved, and the conversation changes. Pain always demands attention. Next, differentiate. Most sales messages sound exactly the same. We're a leading provider, might feel safe, but it makes no impact. Remember, the brain doesn't respond to vagueness. It reacts to contrast, so say something others can't. Are you the only one who offers 1-hour delivery? The only one who backs results with a refund? That's what sticks. People are constantly comparing your offer to competitors and to doing nothing at all. A strong, unique claim helps them make that decision fast, then demonstrate the gain. It's not enough to say what makes your product great. You need to show it. This is where proof comes in. The deciding part of the brain doesn't care about conceptual value. It wants to see it. If your solution saves money, show how much and how fast. If it boosts performance, let them test it or show side-by-side results. The more concrete and real the gain feels, the more the brain believes it. Finally, deliver to the old brain. This is the part that pulls the trigger. The best message in the world won't work unless it's built for the part of the brain that decides. Use visuals, use emotion, use contrast and simplicity. Don't just talk about value. Present it in a way that's easy to grasp and hard to ignore. The best sellers don't just inform, they connect with what buyers care about most. And that means speaking directly to the part of the brain that's wired to say yes. If you want attention, make it all about your buyer. As we've seen, when people hear a sales pitch, their brain is asking one question: what's in it for me? The upshot: if your message is full of we, our, and us, you're speaking the wrong language. If you want to grab attention and get results, flip your message around and make it all about them. The simplest and most powerful way to do this is to use the word you, often, repeatedly, and on purpose. Using you triggers instant attention from the old brain, making your message feel personal and relevant. Instead of saying, "This platform saves 30% on costs," say, "You'll cut your costs by 30%. One talks about something, the other talks to someone. This shift in language does more than tweak the tone. It changes how your message lands. The moment you start using you, the buyer begins to imagine themselves using what you're offering. Their brain starts simulating the experience. That creates ownership, even before the sale is made. This also means ditching abstract benefits and making the gain feel specific. Say you're selling a copy machine. You could mention the stapling function, or you could say, "Don't waste another second sorting pages." The second one speaks directly to a pain point. It feels urgent, relevant, and human. That's what the old brain pays attention to. One way to build messages like this is to keep flipping the perspective. Don't ask, "What do I want to say?" Ask, "Why should they care?" Then take it further. How will this save them time? How will this make their job easier? How will this solve a real pain they're feeling? Every time you answer one of those questions, you get closer to a message that resonates. And if you want to take things a step further, try using rhetorical questions that start with, "What if you," followed by a strong, simple image. For example, "What if you could cut your monthly reporting time in half?" This opens a mental loop and draws them in. Then close the loop with a direct question. "What do you think?" Here's the bottom line. Features don't sell, benefits are better. But when you speak directly to the buyer's experience and put you at the center, you're playing the game on expert mode. To Selling to the Old Brain by Patrick Renvoisé and Christophe Morin, you've learned to stop focusing on logic and start speaking the brain's native language to influence decisions. That means honing in on emotion, contrast, and survival. Focus on your buyer's pain, not your product. Show exactly how life improves with your solution and back it up with something real. Keep it visual, simple, and personal. Say you a lot. Start strong, end strong, and always make it about what they stand to gain.